set 4 years after the end of the movie. But we won't talk about the movie because we have a day to talk about that. Anyway, let's go into Star Wars. Hey, welcome back to Geeks with Kids, your bi-weekly geeky podcast from a parenting point of view. I am one of your hosts, Eric, and joining me on this special bonus episode of Geeks with Kids is Hawk. How's it going, Hawk?
Not too bad. How's it going, gang?
Oh, good. You know, we just saw the first episode of Star Wars: The Clone War, the first one in 6 years. The last one's airing in 2014. So, you know, today is a good day for Star Wars fans.
Yes, it was a very good day in that, and it's amazing how comfortably it slips right back in.
Yeah, exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the episode that came out, and this is part of our bonus content, so we'll probably be doing this every week. I think we're already doing it with Picard. Why not do it with Clone Wars? Why not do it with Westworld? We're just going to keep on posting all this content about stuff we really enjoy.
We'll do it till they tell us to stop.
Yeah, exactly. And no one's going to tell us to stop because it's the internet. We do whatever we want. Anyways, so 6 years since the last episode, and it's crazy how comfortable you get right back into the whole thing. It felt like Clone Wars. They didn't pull any shots. They didn't like do a giant recap of the of the series. They just went straight in. It was amazing. Like I overall, what did you think of the episode before we go into it?
Overall, just generally, it was solid, tight. Right, reminded me a little bit more of the direction of Rebels in that. It was very focused, great. I don't know how many other good things I can say about it. But
did you watch the last season of Clone Wars, the one from 2014?
I did. I believe
those are the leftover episodes.
It's been a little bit since I seen it in that, but the last I remember was Ahsoka Tano leaving Jedi Order.
Was that the last one? I can't remember at the moment. I haven't seen season 6 in a long time. Anyway, so this one, this is one of the only. They didn't do many of these episodes in the series, but this one's pretty much entirely from a clone trooper point of view. There were a couple Jedis at the beginning. You see Mace Windu, you see Anakin Skywalker, but other than them talking about what they're going to do, it's pretty much all about Rex, Cody, and the Bad Batch. So let's jump into the episode. So the first episode of season 7 is called The Bad Batch because basically what happens is they're fighting. Obviously, the battle is on top of what was the planet's name? Anaxis. So
it's an imperial. It's a galactic shipyard under attack from separatists.
Yeah, so it feels like a losing battle to them. And Commander Rex is talking about how they're using analytics to figure out the best strategic means to go through the battle, and the enemy is sort of figuring out the way they're doing their strategies. So they decide to take just Rex and Cody and a small group of specialized clone troopers behind enemy lines to disrupt their operations.
Well, they're going to retrieve the algorithm in that and figure out how they are defeating the clones at every opportunity in that. And it leads to a very dark revelation, as we find out later on.
It's true. The best thing about Clone Wars, the TV show, like I love this. Like I like the prequels. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with the prequels, as everyone does. But the great thing about the cartoon is that we get to see a lot more depth in the characters. We see a lot more depth in Anakin, Mace Windu, all of the Jedis. Even here, you see Anakin. He's concerned for his friends who are these clone troopers, and you see it in that one scene he has with Cody and Rex. And another great thing about the TV shows is that it humanizes all the clones, right? They're all sort of interchangeable in the movie. No one really cares about them. We see that one has a name in the movies, right? It's Cody. But other than that, they're all like nameless soldiers. They're interchangeable in the movies. Right
in the movies, definitely not. But this is what's so great about the Clone Wars is that they all have a name. They all have personalities. They're all individuals. They like to customize all their armor, and even especially with the Bad Batch, now that they have genetic mutations that make them a little bit different, they definitely are totally unique. And
it's great seeing their different personalities in this episode. You see it throughout the series, but this one, especially with the Bad Batch, they each have super awesome, personalities. They sort of felt like different characters from Team Fortress. Like one was the heavy, one was sort of the doctor, one was the spy.
They did fall into weird, the archetypes and that of what a specialized unit and team would be. There was a tech guy, and he was a little nerdy.
There was the hunter, sharpshooter, or crosshair. Yeah. So the four people. Who are the four people in Clone Squad 99?
Yeah, Clone Squad 99. The leader is Hunter in that, and he's their kind of Kurt Russell, going by the hairdo that he was sporting there.
You went with Kurt Russell? I thought he was Solid Snake. He looked like Solid Snake from Metal Gear. That's true. I guess it's right. Either way,
it's the same guy. So we had him as the leader in that. We had the Crosshair in that, and this is where what's so interesting about the Bad Batch is that they not only are their mutations give them kind of specialized abilities, but their appearances are way different from any other clones in that. Crosshair, the sniper, is older, a thinner face,
tattoo over his eye.
That's a brand. I was looking a little closely at that. He branded that. Next, we have Wrecker in that, and he looks like your typical clone on steroids in that. And with what we find out is mega strength endowed.
Yeah.
And then rounding out the batch is Tech in that, and he's very much the most different looking one of them all.
He's super thin and nerdy.
Yes.
Yeah. They even gave him like those round glasses for his scope. I'm like, come on, guys. Made him that nerdy. He was Donatello pretty much in clone form.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good Lord. So they go on this mission to go behind enemy lines, and there's sort of this play between Rex, who's sort of been always he follows the rules, right? He's a military clone, so he's a reg, or is that what they call them, regs?
Yeah, regs.
Yeah, and then he's a regular clone, so he knows his military style, and it's pretty much what all the other ones do. And there's this play between Squad 99, when we first get introduced to them, they're running in hot into a landing pad. But, you can see that they're totally in control, right? And that's just how they are. They're sort of dangerous, but, they know what they're doing. So right. they're sort of this butting of heads and styles in the episode. And it's really cool to see these clones.
Sure, and essential to the plot, and given that they're all their tactics are being subverted by the droid army and that, and they need some guys who are just unauthorized and irregular.
Yeah, and that's what we need in Star Wars, more subversion, right? And basically what they do is they end up, Cody ends up getting hurt, which, whatever. Cody sucks. And I have issues. He shot at Obi-Wan in the third, Revenge of the Sith. So, I have issues with him.
I know.
And basically they end up taking over this military complex, and they find out that there's a code, right, that they're trying to figure out, this algorithm.
It was a Rex at the beginning of the episode, and that has a revelation in that the tactics that they have been kind of subverted or turned around by the droid army are ones he developed with Echo years ago.
And Echo was part of his original crew. Yeah. So there were four of them. It was Rex. It was Fives. It was
Echo,
and Heavy. Heavy was the first to die, then Fives, and then Echo. But they never found Echo's body, so they just assume he died. Yeah. But all the plans that were getting subverted and figured out were ones that Echo and Rex had made together. So he's like, I think he's alive. And we find out that later in the episode, there's this signal that they're trying to interpret, and it looks like human speech. And they sort of ask it for its designation, and then it gives Echo's designation, which sort of, if Rex wreck. I really wish I could say that.
It Rex wreck.
It does, though.
Because his suspicions were confirmed that Echo was alive, and not only that, working with the Separatist army.
working, being tortured into it. Who knows? There's a lot to unpack in just these 22 minutes. And it's such a, how do you feel about that after watching the episode? What do you think of this whole idea that he's going to have to, they're obviously this is what they're going to do. They're going to have to go and find Echo and either rescue him or take him out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this will be a rescue mission. This will be an assassination mission. We don't know, but it was a tight 22 minutes, and it has me excited for next week.
Oh man, and just seeing Rex going through all of this, like that scene, especially that scene at the beginning where he's contemplating how much war has affected him, right? And his squad and all his fallen brothers, and thinking to the future, he's gonna have to eventually fight his brothers, right? Because he took out his chip, and that's just something that's going to be, and after humanizing the clones so much in this series, it's going to be way more devastating, I think, as a fan of this show.
Sure, absolutely. And knowing the future that they had in Rebels and that later on, and that there's a lot of story to tell with these guys.
Yeah, exactly. So overall, good episode. Looking forward to the future.
Yep, absolutely. Looking forward to next week.
They didn't have a trailer for next week, did they? Right after, I didn't see one.
Not that I've seen yet. This just dropped today, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. So, any final thoughts on the episode or the series going forward?
Just really confident in that. It, like I said, it's almost like no time has passed. This is a story that you can kind of keep coming back to over and over again, as long as you got the team and that behind you. Woohoo, Dave Filoni.
Yeah. They just picked up the ball and just ran with it, and it was wonderful. I have to give props to Kevin Kiner, who did the music for the show. He definitely has his own style, but he definitely keeps it in the John Williams style, and it still feels more warlike, I guess. I don't know if that makes sense. But he did a wonderful job in this episode, especially when they're breaching the military complex. It felt so right. It felt so Star Wars at the same time.
I know. Great composer in that. The music really stood out for me in this episode too, and that not just the big sweeping music and during the battle scenes and that, but just his little audio cues and that throughout.
Yeah. So let's throw this out to the listeners. What did you guys think of this episode, and what do you think of the season going forward? Are you looking forward to all these plot lines that we have sort of guessed about? So Hawk, thank you for coming on. I know we're big fans of the show, and I look forward to talking to you about this show every week. This week. We're talking about this. We're talking about Picard. I'm pretty much just taking our conversation that we normally do in Destiny and just recording it and putting it online. That's just the way it is, man.
I'm down for it.
All right. Thank you again. And thank you all for listening. I'm Eric for Geeks with Kids. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for us this week on Geeks with Kids. If you want to get a hold of us, you can send us an email at podcast@geekswithkids.ca. And don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/geekswithkids. Follow us on Twitter at geekswithkidscn. Check out our pics on Instagram at geekswithkids. And you can find all of this good stuff on our website at www.geekswithkids.ca. So if you like what you hear, why don't you hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. This podcast can be found on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, and your favorite podcasting app. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.